so I'm here today with a product that I'm going to review. It's something that I've been given to lend my thoughts, and that is for the DroneMask2. So this is an in-flight set of goggles that you can use with either a FPV drone or a regular drone. I'm going to be using my DJI Air2S drone today, so that's just a normal drone. I haven't used these goggles yet, so it's going to be very much a reaction kind of a review, I suppose. And when these first got offered to me and I had a look at them, to be honest, I was a bit skeptical. I was thinking, is this just another gimmick, or is this something that's going to be pretty cool? So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm just going to pop the lid off here. Straight away, the packaging is really nice. It feels almost like a new Apple product. So it's this really nice thick white cardboard. Let's just pop that over there. And then the goggles themselves come in this really nice little bag. So I'll pop that open. Here the goggles are. Just pop those over there. And then in the rest of the box we have a cleaning cloth, some cables to connect the controller to your phone, and then a user manual and a few other little bits and pieces. So straight off the bat, these are really nice and lightweight, and the quality feels really good. They've got a nice fabric finish. The zips are nice and smooth. I'm pretty sure I just heard a stag roar in the bush behind me. It's the it's the mating season at the moment, so there's probably a few running around. Back to the goggles. So the way that these work is you basically unzip the flap at the front here and you insert your phone into this spot here, and then you have the lenses which are inside the headset here, which basically magnify what you're looking at on your phone, from what I understand. So let's start hooking this up. So I think the best thing for me to do first will be to start my drone up. So I've got my DJI Air2S here, which I'll be using. Find a nice little takeoff spot for this. So I have the drone started up now, and now I want to run this cable into my drone controller. So if I remove the standard cable that's in there and plug this in, I can now run this through into my phone, and that gives me the extended cable so I can now put the phone into the goggles. Okay, my drones are ready to go, so now I want to put my phone into this little bracket here, so that clips in, yeah, really nice and easy. So that was basically did that with one hand, so that's really nice and easy. Flip that over and zip it up. So one thing, there's not actually a proper exit point for the cable, you sort of have to just put it in between the zips. So it would be nice if there was a proper little exit hole for your phone cable there. So let's put it on and see how it feels. So, oh cool. So I believe you can slide these back and forth to get the right amount of focus that you like. So something like that feels pretty good to me. And then there is underneath is a little locking device. So I'll lock that off. That should sit there. Adjustment wise, the headset actually feels pretty good as it is, so I don't think I need to adjust the straps. It does feel slightly top heavy, but it's not too bad. Basically, to control your phone, you've got these little flaps either side of the mask that you can get your fingers into, so let's just have a bit of a go with this. It is a little bit awkward getting your fingers in here, if I'm honest, and the flaps themselves kind of mask what you can see to some degree as well, but not a major at the moment. So let me set up my drone quickly, put it on video mode. So yep, not too difficult to adjust the settings, but the flaps are slightly annoying. You can actually remove them, which I might do when I'm in flight. I think it is going to let a little bit of light in, so it might ruin the immersive experience. But let me hit record now, and we'll get this drone up. So one thing I would say is this is definitely better to do this sitting down. If you're standing up, I can imagine it will be quite tricky, because if you have to adjust your drone settings, you're going to have your controller on one hand and use your finger on one side, and then if you need to use the other side of your phone, you're going to have to swap hands with the controller. But if you are sitting down, you can at least just put your controller down on the ground and use both hands. So I think having both hands free in that instance would be helpful. So let's just fire up the drone here and get it airborne. So yeah, first impressions is this is pretty cool. It is definitely immersive. The phone screen doesn't quite look as big as I thought. I almost thought it'd be like wearing a bit of an IMAX on your face. But you can definitely see the screen super clearly because it's in a blacked out environment. And I feel like I'm a bit more in control of the drone and what's around me. It is taking my eyes a little bit of effort to adjust to looking at the screen like this through the goggles. It is kind of freaking my brain out a bit, but I think that's just something that you need to get used to. What I might actually do is just try adjusting focus of these again. Maybe if I pull them out. Another good reason to sit down. Actually, if I put them in, let's have a look. Not sure if my brain is freaking out more now or not. I'm just going to try and pull them all the way out. See how that looks. Yeah, I think it's just about adjusting your eyes to the headset and the goggles. Just like when you play VR, really, it can be a bit of an adjustment for the first time. But yeah, I do feel like I can really get a bit closer to objects, even though my drone has motion detectors on it. It is nice to be able to see clearly what is coming up, because sometimes when you're using your phone on top of your controller and it's a sunny day, you get quite a lot of phone glare and it can be really tricky to see what your obstacles are around you. So I can see this being really useful for low speed maneuvers. Let's actually just drop the drone down now and I will attempt doing some slower speed stuff next to closer obstacles. So we'll just drop down to this river down here. Yeah, it's really cool. I can really clearly see all the obstacles around me. Might just need to increase my ISO a bit on the drone just so I can see what's going on in here a bit better. That's cool. That's really nice. This would be very difficult to do if I was looking at my phone on top of my controller on a sunny day with the glare. I'll just be basically relying on my motion detectors, so this makes things a lot easier, being able to clearly see what I'm doing. And I feel like my eyes are starting to adjust to the goggles now, which is pretty cool. One of the things I really like about flying a drone is when you come across a really cool looking scene with nice lighting, is when you're looking at your phone, it almost looks like you're watching a movie at times, and I get a real kick out of that. So to be able to have a headset on which amplifies that immersive experience is really cool. So even though this isn't quite the IMAX experience I was hoping for, it still really adds to the immersive experience and would actually make me want to fly the drone more for fun rather than just doing it for work or to film or photograph things as I usually do. So something I'm really keen to give a go is to put the drone in FPV mode. So it's not an FPV drone, but you can sort of simulate the movement of an FPV drone. Oh wow, that looks really cool. So basically, instead of the gimbal stabilizing, it just lets it go with the angle of the drone when I'm flying. But yeah, it is really fun. It feels like I'm flying a remote control plane, which gives me another reason to want to fly this drone for fun more often. So one thing I'm going to do just now is remove the finger flaps from the goggles, so they are just velcroed in. So they're actually pretty easy to pull off. If you can see that okay, just pulling it off like that, so I can do it with one hand pretty much. Just make sure I put these in a safe place. And now I'm just going to go and turn off the FPV mode just so I can test out using the controls. And yeah, immediately it is a lot easier to get your fingers in here. I don't feel as restricted. I can get in quite nice and easily. I was finding the flaps were blocking my view a little bit, so I couldn't really see some of the menus down here as well. But yeah, when you get rid of those flaps, it does let a lot more light into the headset, so it's not quite as immersive, but to be honest, it's not a massive difference. And I think I'd be inclined to fly without them rather than with them, because I feel like I'd rather prioritize the ergonomic side of things. But yeah, I still get a really good view of my screen, and it's still a lot easier to see what I'm doing rather than just having the phone on top of my controller. So now I'm just going to go and land the drone. I'm interested to see if this helps at all, because I'll be able to get a bit of a clearer view of my landing platform. So here I am over here. And I'm going to land in these rocks. So basically there's a few obstacles around here. There are some bigger rocks and smaller rocks. So let's see if we can find a nice landing platform. That looks pretty good. So yeah, this actually helps the landing, so I can clearly see what I'm looking at. And then I can lift my goggles up and just make sure that I'm happy with that. Nice, that was fun. So to conclude my thoughts on the DroneMask2, I think this is a really cool product. It's definitely not a gimmick like I first thought it might be, and it does really create a more immersive experience when you're flying your drone. I do most of my drone work on my motorcycle adventures, so I'm doing a lot of motorcycle vlogging, but the motorcycle has very limited luggage space, so unfortunately these would be something that I wouldn't bring along with me. However, if I was going somewhere and I did have the space, say if I was going on a holiday, or if I was doing some professional work for a client, I'd definitely bring these along, because not only is it more fun to just have a play around with your drone, use it for fun, you also get a lot more control over what you're doing, so you can more clearly see the screen, and it's easier to avoid obstacles and make those fine little adjustments and maneuvers that you do when you're flying a drone, which I think these goggles would be really helpful for. And I think they're both appropriate for an FPV drone or a regular drone. I don't have an FPV drone, I haven't used one, but I can still imagine if you wanted an affordable pair of goggles, these could be a really good solution. And for normal drone users like myself, it still creates a really cool immersive experience, and it actually makes me want to fly my drone for fun, which I never do. So thanks a lot guys, I hope you found this review helpful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more travel vlogs, product reviews and tutorials. Cheers!